I have no idea why, but when I use Zoom, the jitters it just does not stay still. Anyway, we're at the K-Mart in Fitchburg, and the Grim Reaper has cometh. What once was the fourth busiest store in the K-Mart brand is going to die very hard. Yeah, it doesn't... Image stabilization doesn't work when it's zoomed in. Come on, zoom out, zoom out. I don't know why the image stabilization decides to work and not work at times, but the phone's the best way to do this without looking obvious. Anyway, I thought there'd be some big signs on the doors, but they're not. They do, well, on the building itself. But there are signs on the doors themselves, though. And just today, July 13th, 2017, the whole liquidation process has started. And by very early October, it'll be over with. So let's go inside and see how it is now. Here in the bathrooms, they're actually pretty, well, except for the toilet seat there. For the most part, there we go. Anyway, they say that this place hasn't kept up with the times. Pretty much. Here at Layaway, and this time there's a sign. No longer accepting new layaways. Sorry for the inconvenience. Everything must go. The beginning of the end. And it's very hard to get good shots because there's a lot of customers here. Too bad it takes a store closing for that to happen. And there's the employee entrance that you saw over there. It used to be the entry to the lumber yard before Home Depot came to be, and there it was again. And there's some lovely furniture. Who wouldn't want any of that, especially at 20% off? Due to the massive amount of customers, there are some revisits, and we do some quick panning of the camera and an occasional aim the camera down routine. Meanwhile, here's some housewares. They're starting to thin out. Here's the craftsman area, which typically has quite a few holes in it. Apparently it's got some stock from dying K-Marts. And now we got it on wide angle, which I did not use initially. Well, I did, but it was very limited. And I did it a little more aggressively as, yeah, there's some fisheye, but you can see more. Again, here are the signs. There are some holes. Not much has really changed. Trying to get good shots without getting customers is very hard. So like I said before, there'll be some odd camera angles and some quick whip arounds so as not to get a good clear image. So none of this has really changed much. Here we are in the auto department. Again, not much has really changed. Actually, the same empty spots are still pretty much the same as they've been. Maybe a couple extra empty hooks. Other than that, not much change actually. So after this we head right into the garden center. And customers just walked in, so we're giving them some time to move about. And you can definitely see some of the shelves have emptied out a little bit. And there's a lot at 20% off. Some store facing there to hide the shelves really starting to thin out in that area. Hasn't thinned out too much in the bigger items. And of course, we have the beautiful decorations for your lawn. I mean, it's so beautiful. How could you not want any of it? And again, we got some emptiness here. And over here, little bit of a breeze from the air conditioning more than it is the wind because it's enclosed. Definitely see some emptying here. And up ahead, some really beautiful lighting. Very strong lighting too. Not much has changed here. And there's a whip around. There's a customer there. I didn't want to show them in the empty shelf over there. And this part's pretty much the same as it's been. Now, we're gonna go outside, which I didn't do before because I thought the doors were locked. And there's some empty space over there. And that part hasn't really changed much. So now we're gonna see if the door opens. And of course I choose the wrong side. And there we go. Alright, we haven't been here before. I can return the audio. I never bothered to look out here. I didn't think this was open. Well, it is. And it kind of looks like any other K-Mart that I've seen. Oh, and I found if I zoom out enough to use the quote-unquote wide-angle camera, the image stabilization seems to be working on that. No idea why the regular camera, it isn't. So apologies for the jittery video. And I've also been moving the camera a little quick in some odd angles because this place has a lot of customers in it now. It takes it going out of business. How sad. So here we are where I thought there wasn't going to be anything that I thought it was closed off, but it isn't. Just like any other K-Mart, it's sparse of anything. You got some concrete block, some pavers, more pavers. As I've mentioned before, in the very back of the store, right there, halfway down the building, used to be a lumber yard. Then the Home Depot happened. So I'm surprised we even have some of this. This definitely is not something for sale. This is leftover stuff. Here, I was thinking this is going to be one of the very last K-Marts to survive, and it isn't. Well, speaking of things that didn't survive, bag of potting soil that sure didn't. So yeah, for 40 of my childhood years that I can recall, to adolescence, to adulthood, this was always a place. And in 2 months, no more. That's sad when you really think of it. Now, a lot of K-Marts, their open-air garden shop is nothing more than just abandoned fixtures. We got some of that here. But for the most part, it's actually intact and has stuff in it. There's some of the fixtures on the other side of the fence, which is not open, and that's the gate right there. Many moons ago, they used to be able to get auto service here, and many moons ago, that was closed. I mean, that's the only abandoned fixtures we have here. Alright, now we gotta shut off the music, the audio, because they're playing music, and we gotta do customer dodging again. A lot of customers here. Too bad it takes a store that's shutting down for good to do it. Back in, heading directly down the hall from the garden center. Once again, looking at the empty spaces for the home containers that we've looked at before. And we can see some of the food is starting to disappear. We got some bottom shelves there that have nothing. And a few holes, definitely. Facing doesn't save that one. And we still have this beautiful furniture here, including the metal gazebos. And a reminder that it's a blowout. And here we are in the electronics department yet again, but aiming down because somebody was there that I didn't want to get on camera. Of course, when you're in the electronics department, you think of sofas, seat backs, and, well, what few TVs there are available. And there we go, sofas. That is it for the Sears Kenmore section. Again, electronics, mattresses. When you're at K-Mart, get a good quality mattress in the electronics department. And again, we're dodging customers. There's quite a few of them. Again, that's all you see. And yet again, as I repeat myself, apologies for the jitters. Image stabilization just doesn't want to work. Very few DVDs available now. And whip around to show you that the small electronics are slowly disappearing. Again, we're trying to avoid getting people if we can. It is a public place, but we try. And some more. Here we are in the grocery department, and as you can see, there is a wide assortment of refrigerated products, especially further down. All of that 10% off. It seems the water's the thing that's sticking around. We got the same holes in the soda aisle, and the toilet paper pretty much the same. Again, at the electronics department, or just past it. Not much here. We got some Tupperware. And we're in the general healthcare and goods department. And not much has really changed here. Just looking around. And while looking around, we do stumble upon another hole that has formed, and that is in the toothpaste aisle. A lot of that's cleared out. Then again, at 10% off versus the Hannaford that's across the street, might as well grab them while you can. And of course, other stuff as well. I don't know how I missed this the first time, but there's the pharmacy. And we put the camera up there. As you can see, empty shelves. No longer in service. I guess because everything in this area has not thinned out, I just didn't bother going down. It sticks out like a sore thumb, but somehow I missed it. This pharmacy department has closed. Your prescriptions have been confidentially transferred to CVS at the mall at Whitney Field, or as us purists sometimes still call it, Searstown Mall. And speaking of Sears, they got tons of holes in their stores as well, and they're probably going to die a few years after this. They got some balloons there. There were very few before. Now there's a lot, probably from a dead K-Mart. Once again in the furniture department because of customers. It's died off enough in this area. Here's a section we haven't shown you in the previous video. And there's the stuff you can buy. It's just beautiful. Don't know how that's still there. Of course, I think of carpeting, I think of K-Mart. So, some random stuffed animals there, and there are the pieces of furniture in their respective kits. Yeah, it seems when I put the wide-angle lens on, it's the only time it's going to work. Sorry, like I said it before, the image stabilization doesn't seem to want to work. Anyway, for the first time I've ever seen, they decided to put plants out front. We got more here. I'm telling you, this is the only time I've seen tons and tons of customers. Look at this parking lot. it's practically full. Alright, I'll zoom in so that the image stabilization can stop working. It is full. And now it switches to the wide angle camera. And then we just zoom it out slightly. And I do whip the camera around and tilt it down a little bit just to respect the rights of people to not be videoed, even though it is a public place. But where it's impossible, well, public place. Too bad, so sad. But we didn't have to worry about that. So they're going to try and get rid of this stuff. So sometime, I think maybe the first or second week in August, we'll come back and take a look at what's going on here. Not much to see. And we got tons of people. So sad. This K-Mart's been open since 1970, when this particular building was built. And crosswalk time. Let's see what happens. Hi. I'm in the crosswalk. You see that we're in the crosswalk. Alrighty. The Grim Reaper cometh, unfortunately, for this K-Mart. Once was one of the busiest ones in the entire chain. Now it's one of the dead ones. And early October, they're going to close for good. Georgia 551 saying, hope you enjoyed and have a good one.